sorry. So, good morning, everyone. So, welcome to the first panel of Day 2 of hack.summit 2024. I'm Eva Lian, the moderator of this panel. I'm from Yemu Investment Management Limited. We're a multi-family office based here in Hong Kong. So before we start, let me introduce our distinguished panelists. So from my left-hand side, Mr. Yemu Xu, who is the co-founder of ARPA Network and also Penrose Venture. And next to him is Ms. Cigi Cho, investment manager from Huobi Ventures. And then Rodney, I guess he's very familiar to everyone here, partner from Hack VC. And then lastly, Mr. Ken Kitahara from Decima. How about everyone here maybe spend a few sentences introducing what you do?
Thanks, Eva. My name is Yemu, and I am the co-founder at ARPA Network, and we are an infra-level crypto project that was founded back in 2018. We have built a threshold signature-based random number generator that's fully on-chain, and we are also investing out of our own treasury. So I'm also leading the investment at Penrose Ventures, and so far we have invested in over 30 projects, including Menta Network, Dodo, and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's a bit Mount B. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is Cigi. I'm currently the investment manager at Cigi Ventures. So basically, we are the corporate VC arm of the Huobi exchange, the centralized exchange across the world. We have over 200 portfolio companies, including, say, like Immutable X, seed casing, or chain, etc. So we focus on all the verticals as long as there are blockchain-related projects, including infrastructure, DeFi, social, gaming, AI-related as well. So yeah, that's pretty much about my side.
Hey everyone, I'm Rodney. I'm partner at Hack VC. We focus on AI, infra, and DeFi for the most part. Yeah, thank you all for coming here today. Good to see everyone again.
Hi, my name is Ken. I founded Decima, which is a Japan angle fund. We do two things. One of them is we back non-Japanese crypto teams and help them go to market in Japan. That's we basically designed the fund up to do that really well, and we hope we do that really well going forward. The other half, we back Japanese teams. We incubate them and try to get them to a point where they can raise money on their own from non-Japanese investors.
Okay, so let's start from our question number one today. This goes to Yemu first, maybe, because you wear two hats. So both a startup and also a VC. So what are the main challenges startups encounter currently? And how should VC adjust to assist them better? And what are some emerging trends that you foresee in VC in influencing the founding or maybe empowerment of startups nowadays?
Yeah, I spend about 80% of my time in building my project and about 30% of the time in backing the friends around us, right? Basically, because we are in a circle of founders, and a lot of times founders come to me saying, "Oh, could you share a bit about your experience in, go-to-market in terms of product, branding, marketing, community management, experience about cycle management?" Because we have been around for over 6 years, and we have been through 3 cycles personally, 2 cycles as a project founder. So I figure it's beneficial to share our experience with our fellow founders, right? I think there are a couple of things that we, as founders, that need from the backers or our empowerers, which are the professional VCs like you guys. First of all, we are very, very as a founder, as an early startup project team, you're known by nobody, right? But if you find alliance with the giants, like the VCs or the medias or anyone that are leading the opinions and the trend, are setting the trend in the communities and in the crypto world, then we can be infinitely stronger. So finding a VC is actually, a process of finding your partner, external partner that you work closely with for the next 3 to 5 years, and even longer, beyond 5, 10 years. So we need someone to back us, with their capital. That's first of all, right? Because we got nothing from the beginning, and second of all, just as A16Z or Andreessen has done in the crypto, investing side of things, we're looking for someone who can share what we're building, share how strong we are as we are building our product with the public, with the crypto world, and beyond, right? So publicity and someone who can, share the same vision and share the narrative as we do in the process. So that's something that's very important. And second of all, as project founders, right, we can only see the vertical that we are going down to, and we can only go deeper in our own vertical. But sometimes we might miss the bigger picture. But you as VCs, you guys have seen a lot of projects, seen a lot of the directions and a lot of possibilities in the crypto world. You know what's going on at the frontier of the innovation. You have seen the best product, best quality of the projects. Know what tier 1 caliber team look like, and you turn around and look at us, right? For example, you'll see, here's something that you're lacking in terms of product strategy, in terms of your team composition, and let me help you to get where you should be, right? Where your potential can be fully realized. So these two are the most important factors that we are looking for as project founders, and as a part-time VC or backer for our tech friends. That's something that we share the most with them. That's my
Well, that's
brief.
a very comprehensive answer. And let's go on with our question number 2. So beyond the core business concept, what are the other key factors, like maybe team dynamics or market potential, that your firm prioritize when evaluating an early stage venture? Maybe Cigi?
Sure. Thank you for the question. So definitely from my side, aside from the product itself, we'll look a lot into the product market fit, whether the product is actually solving any market existing problem. Because in the previous cycle, we saw a lot of projects, they probably only cares about launching tokens or about on the exit of the tokens. But from our side, we definitely cares about the solution, whether the solutions is tackling any kinds of the problems that nobody is solving in the markets. Like FXG, this is something that's solving the institutional problems when they are adopting different kinds of the blockchain solutions in the space. So for this kind of vertical, we'll particularly look at something that's exactly solving the market currently missing solution. And aside from that, we'll also look a lot in terms of the team's dynamic, whether the team is able to pivot in different kinds of the adverse market situation. Because in the crypto space, actually the competitive landscape or the market situation has been changing a lot over the years. So if the team are able to be flexible and be able to be creative in different kinds of market situation, that means that they're able to pivot themselves even if the market situation or the market demands has changed. So this is something that we are also prioritizing on when we're evaluating on investments.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Most of the founders that you end up backing at the seed stage, they're problems that are, they're founders that are more in love with the problem than the solution. They're founders that have spent a long time in a category or have a unique opinion on how a category should change over time. And most seed founders end up pivoting or slightly changing their business model, but most of them stay within the same problem set. So finding founders that have talked to end users and found like a point of empathy where they can put together a product to solve problems for other people, I think those are really good signs to look for. So totally agree.
Yeah, from my personal experience, I try to look at resilience of the founders, the teams, and this can come in many different ways, right? Running a startup isn't all roses all the time. There are tough situations. For example, I think 3 of our portfolios, one of them, it's someone with something to prove. From, in the previous cycle, they got burned, and now they're back with a vengeance. They have something to prove. They were associated with an organization, FTX, and now, they're saying that that wasn't me. I'm trying to get back on this horse and just show the world what I can do, that kind of stuff. 1, 2, I think, there was a founder team, they were actually married. So they were like husband and wife, right? And they went through the previous bear, and it was a really bad time. There was no cash at all. And I think, if that wasn't a married couple, I don't think they would have made it. But they made it through to the end and, ended up raising a bunch of money in Japan. So, yeah, just like a bunch of resilience, things that can really drive you through whatever, pivots you go through or however the market goes. I think that's a really important, intangible kind of thing that we look for.
I think this goes well to our next question. So aside from capital, what are the key supports that VC can offer these startups? And also, on the other side, what are the most common misunderstandings that startups have on VCs?
Yeah, maybe on the VC point, I think one of the biggest benefits that VCs can give a startup is, apart from kickstart capital, is the network effects of their personal network. As a VC, you get to talk to hundreds or thousands of founders, and you get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of, you get to do a lot of reference checks on people's users, or whether or not people want certain products, or you basically get to talk to everybody in the industry. And so when you work with a founder and you're a VC with a big network, plugging them into your whole batch of portfolio companies or good friends of the industry is definitely one of the biggest points of support. And then the second is definitely most VCs look at most of the different categories in infra or crypto in general, and so a lot of them might be opinionated around certain subjects if they've dug deep enough into certain categories. And for a single founder that or solo founder, if you're diving into a specific problem set, you might not be able to come to the same conclusions at the same speed as a VC. If a VC has spent half a decade looking into how to scale Ethereum or something like that, and so it could definitely save a lot of time and save a lot of costs as well, and also reorient your product vision if you find a specific VC that has focused a lot in your category.
The eye in the sky kind of concept, right? Yeah, that's definitely one of them. I think let's go back to the what VCs can add beyond capital. Certain funds, for example, Decima, right? We're set up in a way that we focused on getting things done in a certain geographic region. So, let's take Japan, for example. It's probably an outlier, but it's very heavily regulated, right? So there's 2 things that people need to think about when they're going to specific markets. And in Japan's case, it's usually regulation. So, from day one, we've basically approached, our anchor LP is someone with all the licenses that any project needs to do their service legally in Japan, right? To have that kind of presence aligned from day one is always great, because you can just take care of that problem quite, not easily, but you can easily address that problem whatever you're going. So that's just one example, but having VCs have LPs, right? And these LPs want to help their VCs, and the VCs want to help their portfolios. So yeah, it's just adding on to the point, I think there's just leveraged resources, so to speak. And VCs can probably definitely provide that more, other than money, of course.
Yeah, so also adding on to the VC side, definitely from the VC side, we come across a tons of projects every month or basically every day. So we are very close to markets and how the market dynamic change. So definitely we can provide a lot of guidance in terms of the market positioning as well as the pivoting down the road after the pre-seed or after the growth stage as well. So definitely we can help a lot in the say like positioning, setting, or pivoting after the later stage of investing. And aside from that, given that Huobi is actually a centralized exchange, we have most of the connections with other exchange as well as market maker as well. So definitely we have the specialty as well as our special skill set in terms of market making, listing, and token advisory. So this is also something that we can add on.
So there was a trend in crypto that there's a concept or idea called fair lunch, right? So where a bunch of community members come in and say, hey, I can provide you with capital and let me chip in my like 50 $1,000 dollars, and if I have like 1,000 people, then it's a lot of money for a project, and that should be enough for a project, right? No, I think VCs are professionals with fathomable accumulation of resources and opinions and innovative ideas and experience to help founding teams to grow, right? So I think that's why VCs are going to be very relevant and will stay relevant for the future years. And I think as you guys mentioned, if we divide the project stage into different phases, then there's early stage, mid stage, and pre-listing, right, for the project, because we know in crypto it's very double-sided, right? You essentially are launching two products. One is token, and the other one is your actual weapon to solve the issue that you see. And you can never underestimate either one of them. A lot of founders or project teams, including us, when we were starting to build our own thing, we were focusing on too heavily on the tech or product side of things. We're like tokens. There seemed to be no close relationship with the product. Why are we caring about our tokens, right? We can just make the revenues off of the product that we're building, and we can just solve the issues, and we can call it a day. But token is probably the greatest, one of the greatest inventions of the internet era, right? So it actually creates a flywheel effect and the growth weapon for your product if used correctly. Take Axie or StepN as an example. Yes, they have been on a death spiral after a while, but then how can we improve on the tokenomics design to prevent that from happening, right? How can we use the weapon wisely to grow our user base, and that is something that VCs can discuss with the founding teams. Make them aware, but make them be aware of it. That's the first step, because I think 60% of team members or founding teams that comes from the Web 2 side of the world probably didn't or probably are not even aware of the power of tokens, right? They are either viewing token as a exit or a way to exit for liquidity. Or they underestimate the power of tokens as a product flywheel growth weapon, right? So that's the first thing that we see is can help, is to make the founding teams aware, the crypto and Web3 side of things that are native to this world and can help increase the possibility for the project team to succeed. And of course, there is experience for product growth. There is experience for community building, how to bootstrap your community, how to design the tokenomics, right? How to, for example, Cigi, you're from Huobi Ventures, right? How to, get connected with the exchanges to talk about token listing and so on and so forth. All all that are super crucial that can not be replaced by an average Joe in the community. So.
Yeah, of course. Like VC's support, I think is very critical for startups. So then I think the next question will be very interesting to all the startups. In navigating the VC landscape, what are the specific strategies you think the founder of those startups can employ to secure funding from VCs, especially for those who may be from underrepresented backgrounds? Yeah, do you have any advice?
Yeah, I think like every founder should just even if you don't have the resources to start putting together the product, you can at least start putting together the vision. And to put together the vision, the main thing you have to do is start talking to people about the problem. And so the more you talk about the problem to people who might have the problem, the more you can construct a thesis. And once you have a thesis, you can put together a deck that explains the vision. And then once you have that, I think that's enough to kickstart the process of doing something like raising capital for your first round. But you definitely have to be open to feedback because there's a lot of growing you'd have to go through if you came up with a specific problem set on your own. And there's tons of different people who've spent decades around your problem set that might have advice or perspectives that you haven't seen. So that'd probably be the best way to solve the cold start problem. I also would say I don't think VCs are opposed to fair launches or like no VCs in the round type situations. We just want good tech to get out there in the world. The benefit of VCs helping you with your cap table is cap tables are best used to incentivize people that are looking to be long-term aligned and help you put together the big picture. Since VCs are, I guess, pro at putting together these sorts of cap tables, it could be a good idea depending on which stage of business you're at in your company. But if you're able to put together a community round where every single participant was just the right person within the right organization, there's definitely a very capital efficient way to open all the doors. Companies that raise $10 million, if they just spent $600,000 incentivizing the right people, that could totally work for a specific startup. Maybe you don't need that much money, but it's all situational. And the VC route definitely saves a lot of time, but it's ultimately up to the founder.
I'll speak on behalf of the underrepresented founders because I don't think there's many, Japanese people even in this conference, right? Japan's crypto scene had its moment like way back in 2018, 2017. But after regulations kind of clamped everything down, it went into a deep freeze, and now everyone's trying to get back, right? And that's partly the reason why I launched Decima, because I wanted to be a part of it and contribute to it. But okay, so underrepresented founders, I think for VCs, it's hard to sometimes back, from my perspective in helping Japanese founders, right? Back these founders because there isn't many like reference checks that you can do, right? So my advice to any underrepresented founder would be go out and bond with your other underrepresented founders. Go out and bond, with founders that are not underrepresented. Get your name out there so that the VCs can do reference checks on you. And then, yeah, I guess like just maintain, this probably relates to strategy as well, but just I know it sounds simple, but it's hard to do sometimes. Just maintain contact. Just keep reaching out to them. Anything's fine. Like, just talk about like something that you saw that you found interesting, something that is like a critical update for your service, that kind of stuff. It's good to maintain contact points, right? And this is based on the assumption that you actually like vibe with the guy on the other side. But when you do, he's probably going to be your biggest ally in pushing for the investment. And at the end of the day, you need someone on your side to really push things through IC. So yeah, underrepresented founders, get your name out there. Go find someone you vibe with that's on your side that would fight for you, go to bat for you. And also, actually, this may contradict something that I said previously, just maintain a lot of contact. But also be very aware of what you say to VCs, right? Because like, you're starting from a disadvantageous point. from day one. So you have to kind of like make up for that and just be aware of how you communicate with the guy. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I've seen like people, go over that chasm, and Hack VC's backed like Japanese founders too. So, thank you. But yeah, that's all I got to say about underrepresented founders.
Yeah, so I definitely agree on the problem solution thesis drafting for the early stage founders, particularly in an underrepresented background, because we see a lot of the startups, particularly in the crypto scene, a lot of them actually have a lot of copycats after one actually comes out. So definitely have a unique problem statement as well as a uniqueness in terms of the solution would make you stand out a lot from the other existing competitors. And aside from that, I think the founders should always be the students of the markets, because the markets has always been changing. So demonstrating your uniqueness as well as your creativity, innovation in terms of future roadmap, as well as your projections in terms of the future execution plan can help you also stand out from the other competitors. And aside from that, I think this is some of my experience when I was in Web2 growth equity versus now, is that previously when you're in a general startup, the people really cares about the product market fit, as in they focus on the problem that can print money, that can sell well in the markets. But while in Web3, a lot of people actually only cares about the tokens, only cares about the thesis or the trend that's hyped lately in the markets. So I think if you are able to position yourself to be really a product market fit person, as well as a person that cares about the problem that can actually makes money, that could be really something different in the space.
So, last question. So we would like to seek a final piece of advice from each one of you to offer to those aspiring entrepreneurs who would like to engage VCs to fuel their startups.
I think one of the best things that crypto bring to us is that, think about this, right? I see some of you guys in Denver, and now we're in Hong Kong, and probably will be flying to Dubai the next week. And we're truly a globalized village, right? And that's true for both tokens and for your product as well. So as founders, yes, we start small, but then we're looking for allies and super nodes that can advocate for us on our behalf along the way. So, make allies, make friends rather than enemies, and leverage the help from your VC friend. Deem them as your external and strong ally and partner. Bug them, right? Because they might be receiving hundreds of requests from founders every day, but chase their asses, right? And say, yes, I took your money, but then do your advocate stuff for me. Link me with such and such resources. Don't be afraid to ask for help, right? From your VC friends and your fellow circle founders, and that's, I think, super important for your product growth as well as your token growth.
Yeah, maybe one piece of advice I'd have if you want to get VC attention. A lot of founders approach different VCs, and they're gonna say we're building Uniswap on Linea, or we're building like a bridge, and they just like keep it short, keep it simple. But when the VC hears that, they compare it to like 25 or 50 things that they have in their mind that they know for a fact have raised at like billions of valuations or are going live soon, or this and that. I feel like founders also, these days they look at a lot of existing products. They look at, okay, well, Scroll launched USDB. How do we get USDB on our network? These are very current problems that can be solved with like one or two introductions. And so the VC would be like, this is both crowded and simple potentially. But as a startup founder, I think the thing that VCs really love, and maybe the things that catch the most attention, are if somebody walks up to you and says, "We're gonna launch Binance 3.0 with like the most unique like parlay system on different markets that doesn't exist in like traditional order books," right? You could put together a big vision, and now VC might try to construct how they might glue that together themselves. And, maybe they'll have like a handful of intros, to kickstart you in your journey. But it's a lot more exciting and intriguing when you have a big picture vision for what the future might look like later. And if they agree with you, even if it's too early, they'll still guide you like towards the right direction. So I would just say zoom out, try to build something that feels like it's meaningful technology, and you'll probably be met with like a lot more receptiveness than pitching like some of the more simple stuff.
I think that would be like the opener, the catch. And then from there, I think, it is a global village, right? You get to see people, you get to meet them in different places. I think you have to really kind of be yourself and sell yourself in a way. It's like I feel like a broken radio repeating the same things over and over, but you have to find that small group of people that would go to bat for you. And, you can only do that by showing them who you really are. And if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, right? If it fits, it's great. You should really work hard to keep that circle, right? And the circle will probably get smaller and smaller as the industry gets bigger and bigger. So just keep that circle very close around you. And once you've developed that relationship, it really gets easier to chase their asses, right? Because they are looking at 50 other things similar. So yeah, just be mindful of how you chase them. It's not like, hey, like, you'll respond to me. That's probably not a good way to go, but you can, of course. But maybe like just send them like a summarized version, because they're probably on like a lot of different calls. Just like some kind of thoughtfulness, and it goes both ways, right? Would get you a thoughtful response, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say there is a correct way to chase their asses. And it's not with like copy pasted blurbs, with tons of numbers with plus signs at the end of them, and lots of like numbers with X's at the end of it as well. You should have some empathy when approaching the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and from my side, I definitely think being able to reach out to people in a people way or in a more friendly way will definitely be a plus for you to showcase your BD skills as well as your long-term execution skills to the VCs as well. And aside from that, I think being able to learn about how you guys can build the products that have a higher barrier of entry or that will be able to sustain with a uniqueness in the market will be important, particularly for something or some projects that haven't been built in the market before. Because in the crypto space, we see a lot of the projects will raise at the same time within the same verticals, which literally underline they're the same products. So I believe that fundraising with a entirely new solutions or entirely new solid tech is something that's really important. And aside from that, I think caring about the actual business model and the runway is also important, because we see a lot of the new projects, maybe they're the first time founder or they're not experienced enough. Probably they'll only care about the solution itself, but they never care about actually the burn rate or actually the execution plans in terms of the revenue growth as well as the business model. So I think for the founders, aside from only investigating on how to improve their tech, they can also learn more about from the business side on how to make that business sustainable and how to market them in a more sustainable way in terms of instead of like only blasting the money out and neglecting the runway down the road.
Yeah, I'd like to quickly add some things, right? So at the end of the day, it's a selling process, right? So you're selling your vision to your team members, and you're selling your team members to the world out there. So if you don't be a good salesperson, sales can be viewed in different ways. Being on AMAs is a selling process. Pitching to VCs is a selling process, right? Doing an internal roundtable is a selling process. If you don't sell, your own product, your own vision, how good your own team is, nobody else will, be fighting as hard as you do. And there's no way that fails quicker than not selling or not advocating strongly for yourself. So rely on yourself first, right? and then the VCs and all the other friends and allies will be cherry on top. I guess that's my takeaway.
Yeah, well, actually, it all sounds like a balance to me, right? So when you do a new startup, you might have like millions of things to do on the technical side. And then you need to take out your PPT and raise fund and talk to VCs, but then you only have 24 hours. Like for all those founders that you have been talking to, what kind of like the balance point that you see? Like between selling your startup and also like trying to do some real work, like to do some make real progress. Maybe
guess-
you have some like good examples to share.
Yeah, I would say both are real work, because there's a balance of yin and yang, right? And you have to start from your core, right? So the core is your core team and your core product and your core solution. That cannot be replaced by anything else. And then besides that, then we talk about marketing and finding allies. So finding the right person, finding the right partner, and put them in the right position is of paramount importance, right? So
You mean building up a team, right?
building your team using the current perspective yours about what problems we're facing in the crypto world, what problems that we're facing, what solutions is needed, first of all, and then gather the best people that you can find, and then put them in the right position. That's, I think, being as a founder also, that for the past 10 years of building a startup, that has taught me. Nothing beats that, because you cannot be a one-person team. Right? Like a lot of times, our friends come to me and say, "Hey, because I have three other co-founders, and we share different responsibilities and hats." And then oftentimes we see a single founder saying, "Hey, I really envy you, right? Because you have people to share your burdens and take care of different perspectives for you in the team." I think that's very important, because building a startup is hard, right? Being in the real world is hard. There are a lot of tripping points that they can just trip you over, and you can just die, right? Having capable people with strong integrity and professionalism around you applies to all founding teams and founders, right? Be it in crypto or outside of crypto, because after all, it's a people business. Even though we're being accelerated by technology, where for example AI and crypto, but at the end of the day, we're on the stage talking to each other. We are working with people on a day-to-day basis, and I'm not a firm believer of tech can solve all, right? Because there's only so much tech can solve, and at the end of the day, we're dealing with people. We're not dealing with robots. So.
Yeah, so definitely for myself, we prioritize on the actual tech and the product over marketing. Like, it doesn't mean marketing is not important, just that if you don't have a really solid product that can survive over a certain cycle, it means that it's just a vapor. Just like a lot of the old projects, they have a big vision, big thesis, but like we see after these 2 cycles, they're no longer here, mainly because the vision is here, but the product is not actually executed, or is not actually able to deliver. So definitely from my side, we prioritize on the product as well as the tech solution resilience rather than purely on marketing, because after all, marketing or sales is pretty easy to hire some people, or easy to get a lot of partners, particularly from VCs or other ecosystem partners to actually help on. So this is something that network or communication can solve. But like for products or for the actual underlying tech is something that could be really unique for an individual project. So this is something that should be prioritized.
Yeah, I would say for open source software, community is probably your moat until you have economies of scale as your moat. But you're not going to be the only product in your category. The second you put your code on the internet, everyone has it. And so at the end of the day, this is a people business. And so being in the right communities, talking to the right people, having the right people on your side is probably how you get your first batch of adoption and your first batch of differentiation as well within the perspective of the decision makers of the people looking to adopt your protocol. But long term, I think it's important to hunt for economies of scale within the stack.
Yeah, so I guess be real. You got to sell first. You know, when you're starting off solo founder, you're going to be selling and you're going to be building. If you sell hard enough, you can maybe, and you're lucky enough. I guess luck does factor into this too. But if you sell hard enough, if you're at it, luck will find you, and then you'll meet your perfect, match, your co-founder, right? And then you can maybe offload some of the things that you're not great at to him, who's great at it. And then now you can focus on full-time on selling or full-time on building. And you do the same to the VCs, right? And you keep doing it until your team's like sufficiently big enough. And VCs, like they are out there selling too, right? So it's a two-sided street. Obviously, they will want to sell their fund and they will want to take your allocation if you sell hard enough. And if you sell hard enough to the VCs, sell hard enough to your team members, sell hard enough to the world, and build something great, they will, so it's a people's business at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think, some rules apply to all, right? For example, the balance has been tipped over recently with all those new projects listed well, they're not new. They've been, building for quite some time, but a lot of times they don't have a using product. And they're, all of a sudden they're listed on the top one exchange in the world, and they reach $17 billion of valuation, which is unheard of in the traditional side of things, and that really comes down to integrity. Then, right? What do you do with that money? How do you put both resources and money, publicity, and team that you've got in the right place to still realize or to make the initial vision come true, even if you encounter obstacles along the way, and even if the bear market hits, even if the core team members or your partner leaves your core circle, what do you do? Will you persist? Will you carry on? Those are, I think, questions that we ponder a lot, not only as founders but also as the backers of our project teams. Do we have synergies, right? If we have synergies, then what do we do, right? So all questions like that are things that we need to ponder. Yeah.
Okay, so our session close to an end. So I would like to thank you again for all the panelists for your comments and valuable advice. I hope every guest here will find their comments equally useful. So thank you again for your time. And let's maybe go on to the next session.